The battle over bail reform shaping up to be one of the main issues in the race for governor. PIX11 continues to be your local election headquarters. We're keeping tabs on what is exactly happening in Albany, where time is running out for Governor Kathy Hochul to get the support needed to make changes to the state's bail reform laws. Governor Hochul was hoping to get the changes passed in the state budget, which need to be finalized by next Friday. Lawmakers in Albany, they're pushing back, though, against her 10-point plan to roll back bail reform.
I'm not one that is going to link the rise in crime to bail reform, and I just think, other people have done that.
I believe good policy is good politics, and I believe it is incumbent upon all of us who can tell the truth about what's connected to what to do that.
Well, Governor Hochul's political rival, public advocate Jumaane says the solution is not rolling back bail reform, but addressing the larger issues. And he joins us to outline his own 10-point public safety plan, which he'll be unveiling later today. But first, he is joining us here this morning with a preview of what that entails. Good morning, public advocate. We really appreciate you being with us this morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So before we get to your plan, we want to get your reaction to the story we've been covering this morning. The NYPD launching a new initiative that some are comparing to the old broken windows policing. So what are your thoughts on that this morning?
One, I really hope that it's not. I mean, I haven't spoken to the mayor yet about what the new initiative on top of the new initiative is, and so I'm not going to assume. What I would say is what we always have been saying is when we try to throw just policing at a problem, we end up not necessarily solving it, but then have to throw more police on top of more police. And that causes additional problems, which is why we've continued to ask for a comprehensive approach to the problems. And it's often difficult to have that conversation while crime is rising, so we have to acknowledge that, but we have to have leaders who have the courage to have that conversation.
Okay, so let's also get your take right now on this reaction to what we were just showing on that screen, which was the op-ed in yesterday's Daily News from Governor Hochul and the Lieutenant Governor. It was called "Don't Blame Bail Reform, Do Improve It." So initially, Governor Hochul wasn't speaking about her plan, saying she wouldn't negotiate it in the press or the public. And then it seems from an op-ed in the newspaper that it's being negotiated now in the press. So what were your thoughts overall when you read the article? Did you read it?
Yeah, this is stunning. One of the reasons that I'm running with Anna Maria Achilla is because the leadership of this state does not have the ability to have these conversations. We've been saying it for such a long time. It is a consistency that we've seen. One, we're not going to negotiate in public, and the next day you have an op-ed. Two, I want everyone to read every single word of that op-ed. They start off talking about how bail reform cannot be called the blame for the rise in violent crime. They also say they don't expect any changes to be the resulting in a drop in violent crime. Then they go on to say, we're going to do it anyway. This is not leadership, and it is not courageous. What happens in these times, in this overreach, is we respond to a spike in violence with things that harm the very same communities without solving the problem. And this is what we've been saying for such a long time. And it was stunning to read that op-ed as an explanation of why we should do something that they are agreeing doesn't need to be done and wouldn't fix the problem to begin with.
Okay. I mean, she spells it out a little bit. So she wants repeat offenders to be subject to arrest and bail. She also wants all felony gun cases to involve bail, including where minors are concerned. And she wants to give judges more control to impose stiffer pretrial restrictions. So given last week's huge wave of gun violence across the city and the recent crimes involving repeat offenders, why are you specifically against these changes?
Well, when you put them out there without context, it makes the public believe that these are the reasons that crime is going up. But if you put it in context, and I want you to use the governor's own words in the op-ed, the reforms that occurred have nothing to do with the spike in crime. And if we make these changes, she doesn't even expect that it will cause the spike to drop. So what we are saying is we want to feed the fear. We don't want to push back on the false narratives, but I believe the governor wants to do something because she's in an election, and that has been the most important thing for a very long time for her. I have been always trying to deal with this violence because people I know, people I've grown up with, are no longer here. This hits home. And so I've really tried to put together comprehensive plans that will address this violence. And actually, we're starting to do that in 2018 and 2019, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
But we can't go back to what wasn't working. We have to continue what is actually working and evidence-based.
Yeah, and bail reform is just one aspect of a larger 10-point plan that she unveiled, right? And you, sir, will be unveiling another plan later today, but you've given us a chance here at PIX11 to look at the framework of what you have, and we have highlighted some of the main points, which include things like this: implementing an investment plan, improving mental health infrastructure, creating a statewide trauma response program. Now, these seem, Mr. Williams, like long-term goals, right? So what can be done right now to address what we're seeing on the streets each and every day?
So what we need is a stabilizing approach to safety after all the disruption that we have. Sometimes the overreach causes more disruption, so we need stabilization. I agree, some of those are long terms, but we do have immediate things that we can do right now. There are community groups who have been waiting for years for funding to do what they do best, and it's evidence-based, and we can show it to interrupt the gun violence right now. Right now, we can open up some shelter beds, specifically in hospital settings for people who are dealing with mental health issues, so they're not sent to Rikers Island. We can do those things right now and then build out the long-term solution. By the way, we do know that law enforcement are important partners here, and so we want to support them with transparency and accountability, particularly in acute situations. But what we can't do is continue to use them to solve all the complex problems. Lastly, I do want people to know many of the officers are doing what we asked them to do. They are making record number of gun arrests right now, getting more guns off the street than we ever have. And I do want to look into what's happening with those cases, why they're not moving through the court system the way they should. But we can't do that if we keep pushing forth false narratives by our leaders.
It sounds like you're saying, though, also that the community may hold the answers. So your public safety plan, it's totally not etched in stone right now, but you're going to be hosting these town hall meetings where you get input from people that are impacted by crime. So when will those meetings get underway, and how much will it impact your plan in the future?
Well, we're going to start some of those actually in the To the Spirit today, and then we're going to do some in person. And you are right, a lot of these solutions are community oriented because we do know we have to expand the partnership and can't just leave it all to our law enforcement partners. What I will say is many times people are saying, you know, communities are asking for more police. That often is correct, but I keep saying they're also asking for so many other things. How come nobody can hear that?
Yeah.
And maybe it's because elected officials are afraid that those things won't give them the votes they need in a 2-second soundbite when they have to respond.
You know,
but we have to make sure our communities are safe and feel safe.
And a lot of being governor is really listening to all sides and formulating a game plan based on all of the different facets of information that you are getting, right? Some of that is coming from Mayor Eric Adams here in New York City, who wants to see some changes take place and says it needs to happen to lessen the crime in New York City. If you do win the race for governor, is bail reform a topic of conversation you're willing to have with the Senate and Assembly, and how would you work with Mayor Adams, who wants it done?
Well, I always want to have conversation. What the governor is doing is actually extortion. She's doing what she said she wouldn't. She's putting this in the budget and trying to attach so many things that are needed financially with these false narratives. What I do understand about the mayor is this is not the entirety of his plan. I want to be clear, we fully disagree on this. However, there are so many other things in the plan that are not being expanded out that the governor is ignoring. Those are the things that I want to focus on. Those are the things I actually believe will have the biggest impact in stabilizing approach so that our communities are safe and actually feel safe. Sometimes those are two different things, but we need both of those.
All right, well, we look forward to hearing more on your plan later today. Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.